Yeah, hi Manpreet.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. So hi guys, good evening and welcome to Network Kings. And it's a day one. I can say that it's a kind of demo for Palo Alto. So this particular batch we have divided into three firewalls. The one is Palo Alto, and the second is Checkpoint and the Fortinet. So initially we are going to start with Palo Alto, and once the batch is over, the people who is interested for Checkpoint or Fortinets they can enroll, or we are running a parallel batches also. So Manpreet, over to you. You'll introduce for the Palo Alto part.
Okay, thank you. Thanks,
Yeah.
Gaurav. Okay. Hi guys. So I'm Manpreet here and I'm going to take care of about the Palo Alto course. And as Gaurav said, today is the demo class, so the course would be start from the Monday itself. So whatever I'm going to teach you today about the Palo Alto, the same could be definitely I'm going to teach you on the Monday itself also. So let's start. So today I'm going to give you some introduction of the Palo Alto firewalls and all the later on we can do the deep dive from the Monday onwards. So I'm sharing my screen and let's start. Okay, guys. Hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's fine. So okay. So for the Palo Alto, let me explain something about the. I'm going to give you just 2 minutes of about the Palo Alto. What is Palo Alto? Actually, Palo Alto is a next generation firewall, and this firewall is actually most demanding firewalls now in the world. There are lots of other vendors who are manufacturing the firewalls, but Palo Alto is a number one, and all are the enterprises, all are the organizations are actually looking for the firewalls to the Palo Alto. So before going to explain about the Palo Alto and everything, Palo Alto is a network, is a name of a company, okay, who's actually manufacturing the firewalls. So I'm going to explain about all the firewalls and all the details. So in this demo class, I'm going to explain about the why firewall is required and what is the types of what is firewall, what is the types of firewalls. Those are the basic features I'm going to explain about all the firewalls stuffs. So okay, so okay, so I'm moving to the first slides. Okay, so in this first slide, I'm going to explain why firewall actually, why firewall required, why firewall came into the picture, and why firewall came into the network. So in the during the 1980s or 90s, there are all the communication was actually happening on the layer 2, like switches and hubs and switches. So those actually hubs and switches are actually good for communicating the devices, but there was some limitation that these are actually bounding for one building, like in one building only. If like suppose this is a one building, and if there is a one other building, I'm just giving one example. Or those users who are sitting in building number one, who can only communicate to the building number one only, and those who users who are sitting in the building number two, those can communicate only to the building number two users, but those are not able to communicate to the each others, actually, due to the limitation of the hubs and switches. Okay, so for balancing those, some after that the routers was introduced. What router actually does, routers are working on the L3 devices, it on the network layer. So actually it is a IP based device which actually helps to route the traffic or route the IP and to reach to the other destinations. It means to the even to the long destinations. So even to the long or different LAN, I would say the two other LAN can able to communicate with the help of routers. Even long distance also, like if you're sitting in some place one, like in other place, and someone in the some other place, like even like a 200 or 300 kilometers long distance, they're able to communicate. But the thing is that if the communication was still there, if the users are still able to talk to each other or still able to share the data itself, so what is the point of introducing of firewalls to the network? So those we are going to explain. Why? Because let me see that. See, in every organization, you know that there are a confidential data. So we are going to be we are going to learn about the firewall. So firewall is actually dealing with the confidential, like it's a three-way method. Okay, I will explain later on when the VPN would come, not in this class. CIA. What is CIA? Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Those we will learn later on once the VPN topic would come. So actually, confidential. So it means confidential data. What would happen? What is confidential data? So it means during that time when the firewall was just introduced, what would happen? Why firewall was introduced? Why? Because lots of the router was actually not much eligible or not much able to prevent the unauthorized access. What is the unauthorized access? Like suppose that this is a server and this is a very confidential server. What is confidential? Confidential means it is a very important this server has containing some kind of very important data, and those data is very much confidential for that particular organizations, and that doesn't want to share with that. Okay, so some like from the from hacker or hacker want to access these confidential data of the server. So what would happen if this hacker will initiate a traffic to this router? This router job is this is simply forwarding the traffic to the server. There is nothing we can block, and there is nothing we can block the traffic, or we can stop, or we can prevent the hacker. There's nothing into the network in between. So our server is going to be compromised. It means our confidential data is going to be unauthorized access, and the hacker can easily come inside to the network and can steal any stuffs, any private data. So that is the challenging that time, and router was not much capable to preventing actually. So that's why that time they have introduced a firewall. So what firewall is actually does, that's we are going to learn here. Firewall is actually dealing with the, like firewall has a some set of rules. We will create some set of rules. Okay, some set of rules. We will create the set of rules. What is what is set of rules? I'm going to give you one example. That, like suppose if there is a this is a PC of a hacker. Okay, I'm just putting here. So if this hacker want to access this PC has some kind of a very confidential data, and hacker want to access. So and this is the internet. So from the internet, if hacker want to come and want to get the access of this PC, so the traffic once it come to this firewall, firewall will check the rules. Firewall has some set of rules. Okay, what is set of rules? I'm going to explain later on. Firewall will check the rules whether this hacker, what is the IP of the hacker, whatever it is it actually allowed to access this server? Definitely not. This is this is the illegitimate user, unauthorized access. So firewall will check all the policies which is created into the firewalls, and on the all the policies, firewall will take the action and simply drop the packet. Firewall simply block it. So firewall is much advanced than all the other devices, and with the creating the set of rules, firewall simply block the traffic, and the hacker is unable to get the access of uh, any important server, or it is unable to get the unauthorized access of our network. So our network is actually been secured. So firewall is a network, is a hardware based software, either a software or a hardware based network security device, which is actually helping to preventing the unauthorized access of our network. So this is the actual definition, and this is what I have explained it. So as I said, what is a set of rules? Okay, so let's get some details of the set of rules. So like suppose this is the PC of a hacker, as I mentioned, and like suppose this is a LAN network, and this LAN network has a IP of 10.0.0.1, and this is the hacker PC. This is the IP address of PC is 1.1.1.1. Okay, so as we know that, as we are a firewall administrator, in this firewall we have created a multiple rules. Okay, so those multiple rules, what is the type of multiple rules? That source, like suppose this is the source, here actually this is the source IP. What is source and destination IP? So IP address, we know that actually IP is actually the IP address assigned to the, it could be a static or it could be a DCP IP. So that IP is actually assigned to the any of the all of the servers. We actually IP version 4, IP version 6. We all aware of this could be. So here, what is this? Uh, this is the two things I'm going to I'm going to explain. That there is always two kind of stuff. So in a firewall, there is in the network there are two kind of stuffs. What is that? One is initiator. Okay, one is initiator. So initiator is what? Initiator is always initiating the traffic, and other one is responder. What is responder? Responder is which is replying to the traffic. Okay, so make sure, always remember. Okay, in any interview anyone can ask. So if you're explaining anything in the interview, you should have remember those technical terms, initiator and responder. So like what initiator does actually. So if this is a in one like suppose this is a one number, this is the initiator. So initiator send a message. Whoever initiating the traffic is called initiator. Whoever replying to the same message is called responder. So here, let me raise this. So now we know what is initiator and responder. Okay. So here the hacker IP is hacker IP is 1.1.1. So what would be the set of rules in the firewall is actually blocking it? So like suppose source IP is here 1.1.1.1 and destination IP is here what the hacker is actually try to access 10.0.0.1. But we know that inside it's a private IP actually. So there could be some public IP would be there into the firewall. So I'm just taking a firewall IP of 2.2. That's the NAT IP actually netting with this. So those NAT IP we can explain later once the topic would come. So these are kind of rules like this particular source IP, this particular destination IP, and for the particular port number. What is port? Like a services. So like a 443, this hacker want to access. This hacker IP is 111. He has initiated traffic for 2.2.2. Okay, and he want to access 443. What is 2.2.2? This is a IP of this is a public IP of this server. I will explain later on for the netting. So if this guy initiate the traffic, once the traffic would come to the firewall, firewall will check that for the mentioned source IP and for the mentioned destination IP and for the port number, is there any kind of traffic is uh, like allowed into the firewall? Definitely not, because if you have allowed, it could be a let me put the same IP, old IP. Yeah, private IP. So if you have allowed it, it means it's a legitimate traffic. So for the hacker, definitely we are going to block it. So firewall will check that for this mentioned source IP, for this mentioned destination IP, for this mentioned port number, did we allow did we created any IP policy into the firewalls? No. If no, then firewall simply block the traffic there itself. So that's actually firewall were doing to securing the network with the on the behalf of checking all the policies created on the firewalls, and then it take the action, and then it is allowing and blocking the traffic. So due to this we came to know that what is firewall. So whatever I explained it, guys, you are aware of aware that what is firewall and what is actually it is doing. So now I'm going to explaining the definition. Firewall is a software or a hardware based network security device which helps the organizations to protect from the unauthorized access. What is unauthorized access? Like a hacker stuff I just explained to the private resource. That's it. Those not required. So anyone have doubt till now for the firewalls? What is firewalls and what it does? Please ask me. Anyone? No? Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so now we come to know that what is firewall and what it does. So once you become a Palo Alto firewall expert, that's what we are doing all the times. So now I'm going to explain the types of firewall. Okay, so these types of firewall, if you're any interview, first questions they are going to ask, what is firewall and what are the types of firewall? Definitely there, if this question is going to be asked if you are a firewall guys. So these things we should have always aware of that. Okay, so how many types of firewall actually we have? So So we have a multiple types of firewalls. I'm taking some 4 and 5 example here. So this is the first example I'm taking, packet filter firewall. What is packet filter firewall? So actually the first firewall which was introduced, actually it's the old traditional firewall. So the first firewall which was introduced in the 90s, like 1990s. So that firewall was actually a packet filter firewall. So what packet filter firewall does actually at that time? So I'm going to explain here. Packet filter firewalls like is checking like this is the firewall. Okay, this is my firewall, and this is my LAN network. Okay, and this is like internet. Okay, and there is some kind of any PC. I'm not saying it's a hacker anything. It is just a simple PC. So IP address of this is my LAN, and this is my outside. So always remember, inside, actually it's called inside. So inside network is called trusted. Always remember, trusted network. Why? Because it's a inside of the firewall. There's a firewall in between, and this is inside the fire inside zone kind of. So is always a trusted. And the outside is actually, outside means what, which is connected to the internet. Okay, so the interface which is connected to the internet, it's called outside, like outside public. And that outside is actually untrusted, because all the attacks and everything would come from the public only. So that's why we have segregated the name trusted and untrusted. So like suppose this is a my LAN network IP is 10.0.0.1, and this is my outside network, and the IP is 1.1.1.1. Okay, so what packet filter firewall was doing actually? So if suppose, I'm not saying it's a hacker, I'm not saying, it could be a legitimate traffic. So if this IP, I'm saying this IP, this PC2, this is PC1, this PC2, this PC1, if this PC1 want to access PC2, like this guy want to communicate with PC2, what how we can create the rules in the firewalls with the packet filter firewall? So we can allow like a source IP. What is the source IP here? Source IP is 10.0.0.1, and then there could be some source port number. Okay, some source port number. If you're aware of that, let me explain the source port number. From zero, actually Americans actually started the numerical from the zero, and we started from the one, leave it from the one. So 121024, this port number is actually a well-known port. It's called well-known port. Always remember. What is the meaning of well-known port? Well-known port is means these are actually all defined. These are the ports is already defined. Okay, like I'm giving one example, like 443. We know that 443 is used for HTTPS traffic. I'm just giving one example. Port number 80 is used for HTTP traffic. Okay, and some other like 23 is used for telnet. I think we are aware of that. 21 is used for FTP. 22 is used for SSH. So likewise, all till 121024, those all are already defined. So those from 121024, these ports are well-known port. It's called, because these are already defined port. So, and rest, let me remove. Okay, so total actually port is from 1 to 65,535, some kind of. Okay, so out of 1024 is well-known port. Out of this, like if I can start from 1025 to 65535, those are actually, it's a it's a random port. It's called random port. So source IP here is 10.0.0.1, and source port, if you open your laptop, if you're initiating any traffic, it can take any of this random port. Okay, any of this number. Okay, so I'm just taking a 44444. Okay, the source port is not much important, but I'm just giving an example. So this here the question is, this PC1 want to access of PC2. The source IP is here 10.0.0.1. Source port is 444. What is the destination IP here? So destination IP is 1.1.1.1. This is a destination IP. And he want to access on port. Which port he want to access? He want to access on port 443. Like 443 is for HTTPS. So this actually, this rule, what is the action? So here in the firewall, we have to be create a rule in the firewall like this source IP. Whenever he want to get go to destination IP 1.1.1.1 with the port 443, action should be allowed. Okay, allowed. So it means we are allowing it. If you want to deny, you can deny it. So that's all defined on the action. So action is allowed. So likewise, this is the rules. If I will create on these firewalls, then only this, whenever this one initiate the traffic, then only it will get the access of this. Okay. So this is the packet filter firewall, which is that's how we can create the policies into the firewall. So here is one more question. So guys, anyone can let me know. If you will not answer it, that's fine. But I want one. I want to ask one question that if I'll open this one rule, this is a policy number 1, that this source IP 10.0.0.1. Let me remove the source port that is not yet required. Okay, because it would be a random. So this source IP want to go to this destination IP 1.1.1 with the port 443. Action is allowed. I have just created the one policy in the firewalls. So definitely traffic is able to reach to this. It means this one is initiator, this one is responder. So traffic is able to reach to the PC2. But when that PC2 will reply, because now it's become responder. When the PC2 would reply to the PC1, so if it will reply to that, just see here. So now if it will reply, then the source IP will change, right? So the source IP would be then 1.1.1.1. Okay, what is the destination IP? Destination IP would be 10.0.0.1. Just it will reverse it. Okay, so my question is whether it will, once it will reply, whether firewall would be able to allow the traffic. It will it means it will allow by the firewall or not. Can anyone explain, or anyone have any idea what the packet filter firewall?
In case of
It will
packet
deny
filter
it.
firewall,
Yeah,
we need a policy. We need to create a policy again for the return traffic. Otherwise, the firewall will block it.
great. Very good. Yes. So whoever said drop, yes, because it's a packet filter firewall. So packet filter firewall is actually I will not, I don't want to use the terms like it is a little bit dumb, but yeah, it is not that kind of it doesn't have that kind of intelligence actually. So like for creating a one communication, for just creating a one communication from one PC to other PC, I have to create a, like there's a firewall, I have to create a two rules, from one rules for there, one rules for there. Okay. So likewise, if I'm creating a 1000 rules, I have to, like if you want a 1000 communication, I have to be created 2000 rules for the. So remember one thing, this is called from here to here, this is called bi-directional rule. Okay, one, like one is unidirectional, one is bi-directional, if you're aware of the terms. So it means we have to be create a bi-directional rules each time. For each communication we have to create a bi-directional rule. So this is actually a limitation or a drawback of the packet filter firewall. So I will explain later on. So what is packet filter firewall? So packet filter firewall is actually only checking the source port, source IP, destination IP, and the port number, and whatever the action allowed or deny, it will simply allow it, or it will simply take the action and allow it. That's it. Okay, nothing more intelligence. Okay, that's it. So that's what the packet filter firewall.
But
Anyone have?
this can
Yeah.
be achieved by router as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So but in the router there is also some kind of limitation. Why? Because in the router actually we are using a standard and extended, two types of
Yes, yes.
uh, ACL. Yeah, two kinds of ACL or policy we can create, standard or mostly extended ACL we are creating on the firewalls, but on the router mostly we are creating a standard ACL. So on the standard ACL actually it's a destination based firewalls. So what would happen? I ask the questions, I'm just explaining about the router.
Mm.
Suppose this is your router. Okay, as you ask the question, I will really appreciate if anyone have a doubt, and please ask me. Okay, so So it's a demo class. Please ask the questions in the next class also. If anyone have a doubt, ask me. So if it's a router, okay. So what would happen if this guy, if PC1 and PC2 want to access? So what is the limitation? We can create a so here actually we can't. Router much has that kind of now routers okay can be, but a standard based ACL, it's actually we are creating with the help of like a destination base. Okay, so we can simply create a access list, give one name like a 1 2 whatever number like 10, and then we can we can only simply that for the IP whatever the 1.1.1.1 allowed. I'm just giving one name. Okay, allowed. So these IP is allowed. Likewise, so in the extended base ACL, they have introduced later on the router, not earlier. So in the extended base, now we have a ASR based router and everything. So there, what is extended base? If anyone have a Cisco idea, there is a one standard. There are lots of type of ACL, but it's a Cisco based. It's not a Palo Alto. I'm sorry for that. And extended. Okay, I'm just taking these are extended. These are the two. Standard base is actually the destination. We can only blocking with the help of destination. But why router can able to do the ACL block and everything, and it is doing actually. But we don't want to give her all the because router job is actually to routing the traffic. Okay, routing the traffic, but it has a limitation. It has their own CPU, it has their own computing stuffs. So if you'll give the all the access listing and everything and blocking everything to the routers, it's not going to happen, because routers has a thousand lakhs and lakhs of IPs and lakhs and lakhs of routes to actually route it. If you talk about the edge router which has a BGP is running, so there are lots of routes are there. So we can't only one device can't do everything. But in the router, only standard, or now they have introduced the extended ACL, it can be we can able to block, but not that kind of intelligence which firewall have actually. Okay, so we can later on come to we can later on I will explain what router are what firewalls are actually doing, and why firewall are more intelligent in the for the blocking stuff, for the blocking or preventing the network is very much intelligent in all other devices. So router can be done, but router has a limited some kind of limitation. Why? Because there was only standard based ACL which is only working on the destination. There is no specific source are defined. So that's why we can't consider router for all the times for blocking and everything, because router have their other jobs also for performing the routing. Okay, hope you get my answer.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if anyone have a question for packet filtering, if no, and guys, one thing I just want to explain here, I'm also good in Hindi. So if anyone not able to understand in English, you can ask me, I can explain in Hindi as well. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. So this is the packet filter firewall. Okay,
सर एक
Just,
क्वेश्चन था
please ask.
सर राउटर राउटिंग के लिए स्पेशलाइज है बट राइट नाउ जो अभी इंटेलिजेंट फायरवॉल आ रही है तो उसमें राउटिंग बेस्ड फायरवॉल्स भी आती है विथ एक्सेस टू फायरवॉल्स
हाँ,
तो
yes.
राउटर की जरूरत ही फिर क्या पड़ेगी सर उसमें बीजीपी से लेके सब कुछ हो जाता है तो
Exactly. बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है निसर्ग. Let me explain. So actually देखो, I'm explaining it in Hindi because the question asked by the Nisarg in Hindi. So if anyone want to translate into English later on, I'll explain it. So the thing is that अभी जो अपना फायरवॉल है वो नेक्स्ट जनरेशन फायरवॉल, ये बहुत कुछ कर सकता है. ये अपना इसमें वीपीएन भी रनिंग होता है, ये एसीएल ब्लॉकिंग, ये पॉलिसी लुकअप करता है. सुनो, एक फायरवॉल में कम से कम 1000 5000 10000 20000 इवन 50,000 भी रूल्स होते हैं, पॉलिसीज होती है. ओके, इतने
राइट
सारे रूल्स होते हैं. इसके बाद इसमें ये बीजीपी भी सपोर्ट कर रहा है, ओएसपी भी सपोर्ट कर रहा है, ईआईजीआरपी भी अगर सिस्को बेस्ड है तो एएसए जैसे है सपोर्ट करता है, रिप सपोर्ट करता है, और डिफॉल्ट राउटिंग तो है ही. तो ये सब सपोर्ट कर रहा है. बट द थिंग इज दैट राउटर इज ओनली सी जहां पर बीजीपी रन हो रहा है, जहां पर एज है, जहां पर आपको इंटरनेट कनेक्टेड है. सो वो सब पे वहां पर सिर्फ मेरे को डेडिकेटेड राउटर चाहिए, जो राउटर सिर्फ राउटिंग में करे. आपको राउटर ही मेरे को चाहिए इतना कि इतने सारे राउटिंग लैक्स एंड लैक्स ऑफ राउट की पॉलिसीज में बता रहा हूँ, ACL नहीं, लैक्स एंड लैक्स ऑफ राउटिंग है। वहां पर अगर वो राउटर अगर फायरवॉल ब्लॉकिंग भी करने लगेगा तो ये इसका सीपीयू मेमोरी सब एकदम क्रैश हो जाएगा। लाइकवाइज फायरवॉल भी अगर मैं बताता हूँ, ये इसको सिर्फ पॉलिसी लुकअप नहीं करना है, इसको थाउजेंड ऑफ पॉलिसी लुकअप नहीं करना है, इसको VPN का भी ये डिकोडिंग इनकोडिंग करना है। इसके बाद इवन दैट आफ्टर द VPN ये इसको क्या नाम है, थ्रेट मैकेनिज्म है इसका अपना, इसका एंटीवायरस है, इसका और भी वाइल्ड फायर है, और भी इसके बहुत सारे फीचर्स है, इसके IPS बेस्ड सिग्नेचर बेस्ड IPS है, वो भी इसको चेक करना है। लॉट्स ऑफ स्टफ्स आर देयर फॉर द फायरवॉल। बट ये फायरवॉल का भी एक लिमिटेशन है कि अगर ये सारे पॉलिसी भी लुकअप चेक कर रहा है, VPN भी देख रहा है, ये भी देख रहा है, IPS भी सिग्नेचर देख रहा है, सब चीज कर रहा है, और इसमें राउटिंग भी करेगा थाउजेंड पे, तो भाई ये फायरवॉल अपना बैठ जाएगा, डाउन हो जाएगा। ओके, सो
राइट सर।
ये फायरवॉल जहां पे BGP हम रन कर सकते हैं, तो वो क्या होता है कि कभी कभी सोहो, इट इज यूज्ड फॉर सोहो नेटवर्क। व्हाट इज सोहो नेटवर्क? स्मॉल एंड होम ऑफिस, स्मॉल ऑफिस एंड होम ऑफिस। स्मॉल एंड होम ऑफिस है, देयर वी कैन यूज फायरवॉल एज अ edge. Firewall edge. What is an edge? Edge like gateway. Okay, so like in the firewall there is the internet is connected, we can use for the Soho network, small office and home office network. But if there is a big organizations where actually lacks of policies, lacks of routings are there, so those kind of stuffs we have required a dedicated hardware device of the firewalls, either router for the routing and for the firewalls for the blocking all the or securing the network. Hope it's clear.
क्लियर सर, बट सर एक क्वेश्चन मोर था कि
Yeah, please.
जैसे इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी आता है तो सबसे पहले फायरवॉल लगेगा या राउटर लगेगा इन लार्ज
That's only
नेटवर्क?
no. In large network, definitely it's a router. Okay, definitely it's you can put the firewall. See, if just see, always remember where you can put your firewall. Actually, let me explain. If see what would happen, firewall it just has to be. We have a LAN. Okay, these are the LAN network, and firewall just only put the default gateway. Okay, if it's a we can if you want just default route. ये क्या करेगा ना? It can only forward all the default route to the internet, like it's ISP. Okay, so ISP, what is ISP? Is the internet connectivity, nothing else. Don't be confused if anyone not aware about the ISP. ISP is like a internet connectivity, like a Jio, Airtel, it's called ISP, who has it's a internet service provider. Okay, so if there is a if there is a edge router, if the this is the this is the router of ISP. So in the condition where firewall only have to be forwarded the all the network or all the route to the default route to the ISP, there you can use a firewall, okay, at the edge. But where in the network where the BGP is connected, some other network is connected, some other more VPN tunnel is connected, lots of other stuffs are connected, that kind of stuffs, there we can use a router. Okay, where it's a very big network where you can use a router. On the some small, as I explained, for the Soho network we can use a firewalls. Hope it's clear.
इन दैट केस के कुछ हैकर्स अपने राउटर को हैक कर रहे हैं, अनवांटेड ट्रैफिक ब्रॉडकास्ट कर रहे हैं राउटर को, उसका सीपीयू यूटिलाइजेशन बढ़ाने के लिए, या तो जो इंटरनेट बैंडविड्थ का जो पाइप्स है उसे चॉक करने के लिए, तो उस टाइम पे हमारा नेटवर्क तो वैसे भी बैठ जाएगा सर,
नहीं
चाहे
बैठेगा,
जितना भी
नहीं बैठेगा, नहीं मैं बताता हूँ, नहीं बैठेगा। चलो इसको बोलते हैं TCP SYN अटैक, ठीक है?
ओके,
TCP SYN attack. What is TCP SYN attack? Guys, I'm just explaining about the TCP SYN attack. If no one has an idea, I will explain later on. So, what is TCP SYN attack? So, suppose this is my router. This is my router, okay? Router. It's an edge router. So, what would happen? And this is the hacker, okay? So, what would happen? What is TCP SYN attack? What would happen? There is one software. So, okay. So, with the help of if any connection, this is the hacker, okay? Sorry for that. So if hacker sent anyone like sent any request to this router, what would happen? So we know that TCP SYN, how TCP SYN is actually working. I'm just explaining here TCP SYN packet. So there is a one initiator and there is a one responder. Okay, so this initiator is packet number 1. It will initiate a traffic, so it will send a SYN packet. Okay, and then responder, which is the number 2, will send a packet number 2, is called a SYNAC. Okay, SYN ACK. ACK means what? Acknowledgement. But SYN ACK, it is, what is SYN ACK? SYN ACK means it is replying to this SYN. That's why it is acknowledging to this SYN ACK. And then the initiator send the packet number 3 is a FIN ACK or final ACK or responder. Okay, it's a send a FIN packet. So this is this means that the TCP synchronization is done, and then we can start sharing the packet. So there are lots of TCP flags are there. We can learn later on. So this is the actually a TCP three-way handshake. Okay, so in this TCP three-way handshake, like suppose hacker send a one SYN packet. Okay, just remember, hacker send a one SYN packet. At the same time, what would happen? This router send a SYN-ACK. Okay, send a SYN-ACK, and it has maintained the session. It has maintained the session. What is the meaning of maintaining a session? Like it is waiting for the response coming from the hacker for the third packet FIN-ACK. Okay, it is waiting. Okay, it is waiting for the FIN-ACK. Okay, it will wait for the TCP packet timeout. Till then it will wait. Okay, always remember. So likewise, okay, so this is for the one packet, this is for the one SYN packet. So firewall is capable of having a like a 1 million or like a 1 lakh. It depends on the license, like a even 50,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakhs session per second. So suppose if my router is capable of holding the 1 lakh, okay, 1 lakh session, 1 lakh session per second. I'm just giving per second. What is the meaning of 1 lakh session per second? It means it can able to it means in 1 second, if 1 lakh session would come, it can able to hold it, like it has a capable, not hold, it can able to give the access. Meanwhile, what would happen? So here the hacker, what it does actually, it send the not one lakh, it send the 10 lakhs of millions and millions of SYN packet, million and millions of SYN packet, and router reply to all this packet. Okay, all this packet, and wait for the and wait for the session, wait for the reply of FIN-ACK. It is start waiting, it is open the session for the 1 lakh and waiting for the FIN-ACK. And router is and hacker is not sending the SYN-ACK because he want to hang this router. Okay, he want to hang this router. So this is called a SYN-ACK. Okay, so what would happen? This is million and millions of SYN packet would come to the router, and router on the same time, what would happen? It is actually reply the it is waiting for the FIN-ACK FIN packet and maintain the session. Okay, maintain the session on the same time. So this is called a SYN-ACK. At this time, if any legitimate user, like it's a legitimate user, if try to connect to this router, it is actually denied. It is not able to get the access of this router. Why? Because router, there is no session is there. There is no session available to getting access of this legitimate user. Understood? Now I think you guys understood what is SYN-ACK. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What is
Yes, sir.
SYN-ACK? So what is SYN? Yeah, please.
सही एक्चुअली से मैंने कहीं पे देखा था कि जो थ्री वे हैंडशेक है सिंक सिंक प्लस एक् एंड एक्, ये जब कंप्लीट होता है तो ये हमारा एक टाइप से सिंक्रोनाइजेशन होता है. तो उसके बाद फिर जो कोड्स होते हैं लाइक 200 और 220 समथिंग, तो उसके तो तब ये हमारे डेटा ट्रांसफर होते हैं ना.
हाँ या पहले थ्री वे हैंडशेक हो जाएगा, ठीक है.
हाँ.
तब ये थ्री वे हैंडशेक मतलब एक फ्रेंडशिप हो जाती है, काइंड ऑफ थ्री वे हैंडशेक, एंड देन दे आर ट्रांसफरिंग द डाटा. वंस डाटा ट्रांसफर हो जाएगा, तब ये क्या करेगा? FIN-ACK भेजेगा, फाइनल एक्ट. वो फाइनल एक्ट का मतलब होता है कि आई एम डन, द डाटा हैज बीन ट्रांसफर्ड, दैट व्हाट आई ट्रांसफर्ड डाटा आई वांट टू ट्रांसफर. देन वो सेशन को क्या करेगा? टर्मिनेट कर देगा और क्लोज कर देगा. ठीक है. ओके, सो ये तो था टीसीपी. बट मैं यहाँ पे बातें आई वाज एक्सप्लेनिंग हियर अबाउट द as Nisarga has asked, ki what would happen if someone attack the router? So due to this TCP SYN-ACK, my router is compromised here. Okay, this is the way hacker actually try to compromise. But we have a some kind of technical stuffs. We have a configuration like called TCP SYN attack. There is some kind of policies we will create even on the router. So what would happen? So if any hacker would come and send the packet, so we can define the limitation. Okay, so as I explained, my router is able to hold a capable of taking a 1 lakh session per second. Okay, so we can create a configuration on the router that after 60,000, okay, after 60,000 session, if any new session would come, it will even there's a two method. It will start closing the old session. We can give some kind of threshold like 80,000, whatever, or 90,000, because due to the capability. After the 80,000, if any new session would come, it will start closing the old session, or even it will start closing the some random session. Okay, so this is the one technologies, okay, we can use into the router, even we are using into the firewall itself. So due to this, it will start closing the old session. So if any legitimate user want to come, it can able to get the access. The session would be free, and it is the TCP SYN attack would be failed here. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the packet filter firewall, and anyway, TCP SYN attack was not the part of this. Yeah, anyone have question, please go ahead.
सर ये फ्यूजन राउटर क्या
How
होता है? फ्यूजन राउटर
TCP
के बारे में सुना था।
अभी राउटर के बारे में हम यहाँ राउटर नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं, मैं बताऊंगा उसको बाद में। अभी यहाँ फायरवॉल का है, ठीक है। हम
Okay.
अभी
how
firewall
packet
पढ़-
filter works, sir?
किसने पूछा? विकास?
Deepak.
दीपक अभी मैंने बताया
Suppose-
पैकेट फिल्टर कैसे काम करता है। ठीक है, मैं फिर से बता देता हूँ गाइज। आई एम जस्ट एक्सप्लेनिंग अगेन हाउ पैकेट फिल्टर फायरवॉल्स वुड वर्क। ओके, सो पैकेट फिल्टर फायरवॉल, दीपक हिंदी में बताऊं इंग्लिश में बताऊं?
हिंदी में।
हिंदी में थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन कर दीजिए प्लीज।
ठीक है, ओके। सो आई एम गोइंग टू एक्सप्लेन इन द हिंदी अगेन। ओके गाइज, इफ एनीवन हैव अ डाउट यू कैन आस्क मी ऑन द इंग्लिश अगेन। आई एम कंफर्टेबल विद द इंग्लिश एंड हिंदी बोथ। So okay, that's fine. So as I'm going to explain types of firewall, so so मैं जा रहा हूँ explain करने types of firewall. So packet filter firewall is ये क्या है? Traditional old firewall, मतलब पहला मॉडल जब 1990s में firewall इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया था, तो ये पैकेट फिल्टर फायरवॉल पहला आया था। तो वो था क्या? वो चेकिंग करता था, मतलब उसपे जो रूल्स जो बनते थे ये फायरवॉल से, ये मान लो कि मेरा कोई फायरवॉल्स के आउटसाइड नेटवर्क है। ओके, आउटसाइड में लिखा हूं। मैं थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन इसको थोड़ा जल्दी से करूंगा क्योंकि ये ऑलरेडी मैं एक बार कर चुका हूं। और ये इनसाइड नेटवर्क है। इसका इस पीसी का आईपी है 10.0.1, इस पीसी का आईपी है 1.1.1.1। ओके, सो अगर 10.0.0.1 PC, this PC1, this is PC2, he want to access of PC2। ओके, he want to access of PC2। अगर ये PC2 का एक्सेस करना चाहता है तो कैसे एक्सेस करेगा? ये क्या करेगा? तो हमें इसके लिए फायरवॉल पे रूल, क्योंकि कोई भी ट्रैफिक इस फायरवॉल के थ्रू जाएगा तो फायरवॉल क्या करता है? इस पे रूल्स चेक करता है, पॉलिसी चेक करता है। ओके, कि ये पॉलिसी क्या चेक करता है कि ये मतलब ये जो आईपी है 10.0.1 इस आईपी के लिए अलाउड है कि नहीं। अगर वो अलाउड नहीं होगा तो ब्लॉक कर देगा। तो पैकेट फिल्टर फायरवॉल में क्या होता है? पॉलिसी कैसे क्रिएट होता है? हम पॉलिसी इस पे इस तरह से बनता है, हम बताएंगे जब लैब करेंगे। ओके, तो लैब तो हम आज नहीं करने वाले हैं। ओके, तो मैं बता देता हूँ ये क्या चेक करता है। Okay, someone has written that I am not comfortable with the Hindi. Okay, so actually, Ram, this is actually I've already explained in English that time. I'm just explaining this in Hindi only with the request of Deepak. Okay, let me give me 2 minutes. Let me explain in the Hindi first because yeah, we have a multi-language team. So I'm just explaining in the 2 minutes for the Hindi. This course in the totally in the English only. Give me 2 minutes. Let me explain in the Hindi first because we have some guys also which are not comfortable with the English. So ये क्या करता है? So if this one, ये PC को एक्सेस करना है PC2 को, तो उसके लिए हम फायरवॉल पे रूल बनाएंगे। तो सोर्स आईपी क्या होगा? ऐसे जैसे मैंने बताया कि एक इनिशिएटर होता है और एक रेस्पोंडर होता है। इनिशिएटर किसको बोलते हैं? जो इनिशिएट करना चाहता है, जो एग्जैक्टली सोर्स आईपी, वेरी गुड। जो सोर्स होता है वो इनिशिएटर होता है और रेस्पोंडर होता है उसको डेस्टिनेशन बोलते हैं। किसने बोला? वेरी गुड,
दीपक।
वेरी गुड। तो सोर्स आईपी यहाँ पे क्या होगा? मेरा ये इनिशिएटर कौन है? 1 नंबर। और किसको करना चाहता है? PC2 को, ये रेस्पोंडर होगा। तो सोर्स आईपी मेरा होगा 10.0.0.1, ये रूल बनेगा। और डेस्टिनेशन आईपी क्या रहेगा? 1.1.1.1। ओके, इसका आईपी और किस सर्विसेज को एक्सेस करना चाहता है, पोर्ट नंबर। तो लाइक सपोज ही वांट टू एक्सेस 443, ये कुछ भी हो सकता है। तो ऐसे मैं रूल बनाऊंगा कि सोर्स आईपी, डेस्टिनेशन आईपी एंड पोर्ट नंबर, ये रूल क्रिएट होगा मेरे फायरवॉल पे। और एक्शन मतलब उसको क्या करना चाहता है, अलाउ करना चाहता है कि ब्लॉक करना चाहता है, ये हम अलाउ ये रूल क्रिएट करेंगे। लाइकवाइज फायरवॉल इसको क्या करेगा, एक्शन लेगा, और देन ही वांट टू एक्सेस, फायरवॉल विल अलाउ, फायरवॉल इसको अलाउ करेगा ट्रैफिक को, और तब वो ट्रैफिक एक्सेस होगा। तो ऐसे हम रूल बनाएंगे फायरवॉल पे, देन इट विल एक्सेस। So okay, so packet
Yeah.
this is the packet filter firewall. So next time moving to the stateful firewall. Okay, so as I explained, now the what is the limitation and drawback of this packet filter firewall? So that drawback is actually going to fixed in the stateful firewall. Okay, what is stateful firewall? See, if you go through, if you're going through my slides, I'm not reading this definition, because I want to explain the definition. Once you once whatever I'm explaining the definition, once you understood this, no need to learn those definition, I hope. So in any interview, if anyone would ask about the packet filter firewall, hope you guys are very much aware, very much understood. And now whatever I'm going to explain in the stateful firewall, because most of the interview it is going to ask what is the difference between stateless and stateful firewall. Make sure packet filter firewall is also known as stateless, okay, which is I'm going to explain later on. Stateless. So this is stateful firewall. What is stateful firewall? Stateful firewall is also doing the same stuff, okay, as the stateful firewall is also doing the same, like it was doing in the packet filter firewall. The IP is 10.0.0.1. This IP is 1.1.1.1. Okay, I'm just taking the previous example. What is happen? As I said, if allowing this IP 10.0.0.1 to 1.1.1.1, okay, this IP, I have to create a two policies. Okay, I have to create a two policies into the firewall. One policy, what would be the one policy? One policy, the source IP is 10.0.0.1, destination IP is 1.1.1.1, and port number is 443. Okay, this is the policy number one. And again we have to create a policy number two. I'm talking about the packet filter firewall. We have to again create a policy number two, like source IP is, now it is become a responder, right? So once this will respond the traffic, the source IP is changed. So this is become a source IP. The 1.1.1.1 is a source IP, and destination IP, this one is become a destination because packet coming from the PC2. So 10.0.0.1. So as you guys know that for the packet filter firewall, for allowing one communication, we have to create a two rules. But in the stateful firewall, it is not. Okay, only one rule is able to communicate both sides, not from the both side, it's a unidirectional. Okay, so reply, whatever the reply would come from the two, it is by default allowed. That's why it is called stateful. I'm going to explain why. Okay, so the basic is clear that for stateful firewall is actually we can create only one rules to allow the traffic. So how it will work, and we are now going to learn the concepts. So stateful firewall, what it does, it maintain a state. Okay, so this is my firewalls. What would happen? So, and this is a PC2, IP is 1.1.1. Same, I'm just taking same example. The PC1 IP is 10.0.0.1. Okay, so what would happen? So what would happen when this IP want to access this, and we have created a rule, the same rule I have created a source IP is 10.0.0.1, destination IP is 1.1.1.1, okay, and the port number 443. So when this rule I have created in the firewall, when it will initiate the packet, when it is come to the firewall will check that what is source IP 10.0.0.1, what is the destination IP 1.1.1, what is the port number 443, what is the action, it is allowed. Okay, so firewall will allow it. Okay, firewall allow the traffic, it is allowed it. But when the return traffic is coming, same time firewall is allowed, but on the same time firewall maintain one state. Okay, firewall maintain the state table. What is it is maintain? It is maintain the state table. What is state table? State table means connection table. Okay, what is connection table? We should have know that in every interview it is asked. So what is stateful firewall? Stateful firewall is actually maintain the state table or connection table. We can say state table or connection table. Anyone? So it maintain a state table. So what's there in the state table? So remember, just understand. In a state table, any traffic, any traffic coming, any traffic going through the firewall, any new traffic. Always remember, any new traffic going through the firewalls. Listen, firewall. Any new traffic going through the firewalls will maintain the maintain the source IP detail, maintain the source port number detail. Okay, maintain the destination IP detail, maintain the destination port number detail. Okay, and it maintain the session number. Okay, like it create any random session number, it create the session number. So once the traffic going from there to there, it will have a one session. Like I'm explaining again what is state table. I'm going to explain again. So it maintain this information, remember just. So when the return packet is coming from the responder, firewall will check that okay, this is the existing traffic. Okay, it is not a new traffic, it is the existing traffic. Okay, because it is already passing from the firewall, right? It is just a respond in, it's a return traffic. Firewall will check that okay, it's a return traffic, it's existing traffic. I have all the information already in my state table. So firewall, it will not going to check any policy detail. It will allow the traffic. Just remember it. It is not going to check anything, it will allow the traffic. And how it works actually, I'm going to explain in the real world. Okay, like suppose you are staying in this apartment. This is your apartment. Okay, and you are staying in this apartment. Just try to uh, what I can say that uh, okay, whatever. So this is your apartment and there is a one watchman. Okay, this is a watchman. Just remember, this is a watchman. Anyone? Okay, this is a watchman. This guy is a watchman. Firewall is like a watchman. Okay, so what would happen if any guy, any, so remember, and this is our main gate. This is society, full society. Okay, and this is our main gate, and this is the outside world, whatever. So if anyone from the inside the building want to go outside, okay, so if he want to go outside, it will come to the watchman will check that whether this guy want to go outside or not. So he will he will write the name of this guy. Okay, this guy, whatever the name, okay, like Deepak, this guy want to go out. Okay, what is his flat number? Okay, this is his flat number. Where he want to go, he want to go somewhere else, whatever. Okay, he will write the all the details of these people, of this guy. And when this and he will allow this guy. When the same guy will come, okay, so he will show, he will check that okay, you are the same guy, right? You are the same guy. Okay, you were staying in my apartment, you were the same guy who's coming. Okay, you came from you were going that side, this is your flat number. He is not going to check anything, he will just allow it. Okay, just likewise same, he's maintained one detail, right? In his book, he's mentioned maintain one detail, like what is his name, where what is his flat number, where he want to go. Those detail he's maintaining same. Likewise, firewall maintaining the state table. Always remember, maintaining the state table. In this state table, firewall, in this state table, firewall maintaining the source IP detail, destination source port detail, destination IP detail, destination port number, and a one session ID. Okay, any just don't think about the session ID. There is whatever the new session created, there is a one random session ID would created. So when the traffic going from the one side to outside, when the return traffic would coming to the firewall, firewall will check that okay, this is the return traffic. This is not a new traffic, right? It's a return traffic coming, and I have the details in my state table. So firewall not do any policy lookup, it will simply allowed it. So guys, any doubt? Hope it's clear. If you have any doubt, please ask me. It's a very basic and need to be understand.
Sir,
So
I
yes.
think it will work like switch. Means when packet will come, switch will on the
No,
MAC address, and it will
switch is actually broadcasting. It is
that's what I'm
not
telling you.
broadcasting, sir.
When one new packet will come, that time switch will on the MAC address and it will store in the MAC table. And when packet will return also, they no need to broadcast because already in the
Yes.
table Simply it will forward.
Exactly. You can take example from that. Very good, Sandeep. Huh? Very good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone have doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Very good. Okay. So stateful, I'm just reading the definition right now. Then stateful firewall maintain the state table or connection table. Now we know that what kind of table it is maintaining. The date table, source IP, destination IP, source port number, destination port number, and session ID. That's it. If any connection go from outside to inside, I'm just taking here example of outside, whatever, outside to inside or inside to outside, it will check the connection table. Okay. If the connection is existing, like it's existing, then it will allow the traffic. If not, it will discard the traffic. So if the connection is existing, it will simply allow the traffic. So here, so now we are aware of the difference between stateless firewall and stateful firewall.
Hello, Manpreet.
Yeah, please. Yes.
Sorry to disturb. Yeah. I have a one doubt. How stateful firewall is better than the ACL or the one which we used in the router, because ACL is something like similar to the stateful firewall, I think, because in this does in ACL we permits or deny the traffic. So so how it is the I mean the how stateful firewall.
Okay. Very good. Good question, Sanidhya. See, the same question has asked by the Nisarga actually. Um, uh, router is not only the job of the ACL, right? Router has a job of the routing. Router is made for the routing. Always remember,
Yeah.
router is made for the routing. So
Yes.
but we are, as I explained, router has a limitation of the ACL. We are using a standard based ACL, okay, for the
Yeah.
router.
Yes. Yes.
So if you, and also we are using a extended base ACL, we are using nowadays. But
Hmm.
if I'm talking about the standard base, can you let me know that for the standard based, actually it is the destination based. We can only allow the destination, not from the source, like this source IP going to this destination IP, going
Yes.
to this port number. No, right? We can only either we can allow the source IP, destination IP. We are not mentioning the port number. We are
Yes.
not defining the port number. Only either destination, either source. Right? Okay, this source IP going to this destination IP. We are allow or block, whatever you want. We allow or deny,
Hmm.
whatever.
Hmm.
Okay. But firewall is much more granular, much more
Okay.
specific. In the firewalls, we are creating a this source IP. Okay. Whatever this source IP going to this specific destination IP with this specific port number like 443. Whatever. Firewall is very specific. Here
Okay.
router is not looking for the port number. Router is looking for the everything. All traffic is allowed. But
Hmm.
right, like in our practical, if you become a Palo Alto firewall engineer, there are there are multiple server where port number 80 is blocked. It is actually no one can get access of port number 80. If someone would get access of port number 40, port number 80, actually it is unauthorized. Even the 44, because port number 80 is very much I can
It's
say
a
that
TTP.
yeah, it's for HTTP. It can like a HTTP, it is not secure, right?
Yeah.
So there are multiple, even the FTP 21, like
Hmm.
you can share your data, right? So multiple port number are actually not allowed to access any server. So here router is allowing by default all traffic, but here the firewall is very much specific for the port event. So this is the one thing. The second thing also, firewall is also working on the IPS signature based. Firewall also working on threat management. Firewall is also working on antivirus stuffs. Firewall is also working on the VPN, multiple things. Okay, so
Okay.
that's why there are even remember there are not only in the big organization, you can see that there are around 50,000, even more than 50,000 policy in one firewall. So if you put 50,000 policy in router, and there is a even 50,000 routing also there, is your router going to work?
No.
This network going to be choked.
Yeah.
You got my point. The throughput will be,
Yes.
there would be a high latency. So
Yeah.
that's
Sir,
why. Yeah, please go ahead.
last year, actually, I have taken one Tata's line up to 2 Gbps, and BGP session has been done, and Tata provide me full routing tables, and my router was down within 2 to 3 seconds. I
Exactly.
got the 6 to 7 lakhs routes within seconds.
See that. So 6 to 7 lakhs route in the 2 seconds. So Sanida, you can understand. So
Yeah.
firewalls,
Yes.
even if you get a very big router, but big high series of router, that's fine.
Mhm.
But there are lots of traffic are coming for the routing. Okay, so router has a separate job. If suppose if firewall can able to handle routing and the firewall are able to handle all the policies and blocking, there is no need of router then. But there is a router
Yeah.
in the market. There is a switches, right? Right.
Yeah.
Sir,
So that's
I have a
please.
Cisco 1001 router,
Okay.
and that
Okay.
was down.
Exactly. See, so that much of big series of router even going down. So suppose, so see that. So that's why we require a dedicated firewall for for blocking and allowing the traffic. We require a dedicated router for routing the traffic. So now you understand why we required a router, why we required a firewalls. Okay.
Yeah, I understand. But the thing is, we can also use firewall as a routing, right? Because
Yes.
in my
Yeah. Yeah.
organization,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are
You can. You
using
can.
the
You can. Yeah.
firewall.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You can use, but as I explained, if you're there in the if you're there in the session, I explained that is for the Soho network, not for the very big organizations. For the medium sized network, that can be okay. Soho what is small home, small office, small home office. Okay,
Yes.
small office or home office network, that is fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For the firewall can work as a for the routing stuffs can able to handle, because firewall is able to handle BGP even OSPF whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so what in the stateful firewall, what we learned that in the interview, if you're going for the interview for the any firewalls, they're going to ask what is the difference between. So guys, in this course, I'm not only explain the Palo Alto, I will also prepare you for the interview as well. Okay, don't worry. So in this interview, they are going to ask very first, second question. What is the difference between stateless and stateful firewall? If anyone have joined given any interview of the Palo any firewalls, definitely interviewer had asked this question. What is the difference between stateless and stateful firewall? So now stateless and stateful. So now we come to know that stateless is like packet filter is a stateless firewall. Okay, so stateless firewall, just writing like that, stateful, this is a firewall. So actually this is stateless is actually working on the source IP, destination IP and source port number, destination port number. Okay, and it is not maintaining any connection table or anything. For allowing a one single connection, we required two policies, right? But for the stateful, okay, it is working on the same source IP, destination IP and source port, but it is maintaining a state table. So due to maintaining a state table, if any traffic coming from the like from the replied traffic any would come, it will check that it is the existing uh, traffic, as it has already maintained into the state table, it will simply allowed it. So for one single communication, only one policies is enough for one single communication. So guys, hope it is clear for the stateless and stateful firewall. Any doubt? Okay,
No.
No, sir.
great. Okay, so now moving to the next. So what is the application level gateway firewalls? Anyone? I'm explaining. Go ahead. So I'm going. See, as we know that we all are aware of OSI reference model, definitely. Okay. So there are 7 layer. I'm not going to explain 7 layer, but firewall is working on network layer. We all know that. Okay. Even router, firewall working on network layer. But application level firewall is working on L7. Okay, in application level. But this Palo Alto is actually working from L3 to L7. Okay. So what would happen? Application level of firewalls. So application level of firewall is actually taking care of web-based traffic. Okay, what is web-based traffic? I'm explaining. See, this firewall is not actually looking for like that. We have learned, right? Source IP, this this PC1, PC2, whatever the 10.0.0.1, 1.1.1.1. Suppose this one want to access. This is this can be achieved from the stateless and stateful firewall. But if you are just like I'm opening my browser, see that I'm opening my browser here. Okay. Okay, so I'm opening this browser. So if you initiating any traffic from the browser, like Facebook, whatever, okay, like Facebook, YouTube, whatever you are initiating the traffic, this traffic is called a web-based traffic. Okay, so this web-based traffic is actually handled by the application level of firewall because it is working on L7. So what it does actually, like so generally this kind of firewall, let me remove everything, explain in a very good manner. Okay, go. Okay, so see, this Palo Alto firewall is actually having features of all, like stateful firewall, application level firewall, everything. But in that old traditional method, what would happen? This is my LAN network. Okay, LAN network. This is my firewall, and then there is a application firewall. Yes, application firewall. See that this is inline, and then there is a your router. Okay, edge router, and there is the internet ISP. Likewise, this is my LAN. So if any traffic for IP based traffic, any IP based traffic would come, so then it will come to the, I'm sorry, there is a one more link. Okay, I'm sorry for that. So for IP based traffic, any IP based traffic, like we have seen in the previous example, those it would come to this firewall. Firewall will check all the policy, and likewise it will take action, allowed it. But any web based traffic, okay, like facebook.com, youtube.com, anything you are accessing from the browser, those traffic is this firewall simply by default allowed. It is just not by default, it is just allowed. We have and forward this traffic to the application firewall, and this application firewall is actually do the content filtering. Okay, what is content filtering? So it has a some kind of content filtering, like in our organizations we have a HR department, suppose, and HR department we want to give them access of naukri.com, okay, even facebook.com, we want to give access of those guys, or even facebook.com, suppose. But we have a here developer team. Okay, there is a one team developer. Okay, they're the user. There are 5-10 users are there, which are from the developer. I don't want those to get access of naukri.com or facebook.com, youtube.com, anything. Okay, so this application firewall, with the help of this application firewall, we can allow some URL, whatever content, like a category based, like a social media, naukri.com, anything. Okay, we can allowed or blocked for other guys, and we can allowed and blocked for other team, or even a single individual user based also. So this application based is actually work as a proxy and work on the application layer firewall. It actually help us to allow and block the web based traffic, like a facebook.com, youtube.com, whatever you are accessing from the web based traffic. Guys, any doubt? I think it's simple. Any doubt, please ask me.
No.
Very good.
सर
Okay. Yeah, please.
कंटेंट फिल्टर का जो होता है वो उसका कुछ डेटाबेस रहता है जो रिफ्लेक्ट
Yes,
होता है,
yes. Yeah, उसका एक
तो
अपना
वो पहले
database
से
होता है.
प्रीलोडेड होता है फायरवॉल में कि या अदरवाइज उनका सर्वर रहता है?
नहीं, देखो, कंटेंट बेस्ड ये एक दूसरा होता है. ये जो तुम पूछ रहे हो ना, ये आईपीएस का सिग्नेचर होता है जो अपडेट होता रहता है. इसमें क्या होता है कि इन लोगों का रिजेक्ट्स होता है. मैं बताऊंगा रिजेक्ट से सब क्या होता है. इसमें क्या होता है कि जैसे जस्ट आई एम एक्सप्लेनिंग इन हिंदी गाइस, जस्ट 1 for 2 minutes. होता क्या है कि ये ब्लॉक करता है. जैसे मान लो कि facebook.com मेरे को ब्लॉक करना है. ओके, तो
ओके
ये मैं फायरवॉल पे भी चाहूंगा तो कर सकता हूँ, बट एक्चुअली वेब बेस्ड ट्रैफिक आजकल मतलब जैसे मान लो कि इफ इन योर बिग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन देयर आर 10,000 यूजर्स आर देयर, सो एक यूजर कम से कम 20-25 तो वेब ब्राउजर ट्रैफिक खोल के बैठता है। उतना एक्चुअली अपना एक सिंपल फायरवॉल एक्सेस नहीं करता है। तो फायरवॉल क्या करता है, वेब बेस्ड ट्रैफिक को सिंपली एक एप्लीकेशन, एक हार्डवेयर, जैसे हुआ नहीं राउटर के बारे में बात किया था हम लोग, तो सिंपल एक अलग फायरवॉल को हम लोग एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड फायरवॉल को ट्रैफिक फॉरवर्ड कर देता है। उसमें क्या करता है कि उसमें हम लोग पहले से एक कंटेंट बेस्ड, उसमें जैसे मलिशियस स्टफ्स अगर है ना, ये मलिशियस स्टफ्स का भी इसका कंटेंट होता है, ठीक है, मलिशियस है, कोई और स्पैम बेस्ड है, वो सब एक्चुअली अपग्रेड होता रहता है, ठीक है, वो सब अपग्रेड होता रहता है, ठीक है, बाय द क्लाउड और बाय द जो भी इसका कंपनी का ये है, जैसे मान लो कि फोर्स पॉइंट है, वेबसेंस है, वहां से उनका सिग्नेचर अपडेट होता रहता है। पर facebook.com यूआरएल ब्लॉक करना है, उसके लिए क्या अपडेट करना है? नथिंग, राइट? वो आईपीएस सिग्नेचर ब्लॉक होता है, वो मैं बाद में बताऊंगा, ठीक है। सो दोस थिंग्स एक्चुअली लाइक ट्विटर ब्लॉक करना है और ट्विटर अलाउ करना है, यूट्यूब, तो इसमें क्या करता है कि एक स्टार डॉट, ठीक है, star.facebook.com ऐसे लिख दिया, ठीक है। तो अभी क्या होता है कि व्हाट इज स्टार डॉट मतलब कि तुम अब www.facebook.com इफ यू राइट लाइक दैट, ओके, और like if I block, guys just listen to me, if I block, like if I create a policy like www.facebook.com and it should be blocked, okay, blocked, but someone if try to access https facebook.com, is going to be open, bro.
It allowed.
It's going to be work. So that's why they have created some kind of rejects star.facebook.com. So whatever would be there before dot is whatever you will do is going to be blocked. Anyway, so those kind of stuffs we are working on the application level firewall. So we are now understand of what is application level of firewall. Okay, that's
Right,
fine.
sir.
Okay, so next is next generation firewall, which is our even. Yeah, anyone have doubt? Please ask me.
Yes, so I have one doubt. Proxy server और proxy firewall में कुछ ऐसा फर्क है कि they are same?
नहीं नहीं, ये एप्लीकेशन लेवल फायरवॉल वर्क इज ये प्रॉक्सी ही है, ये प्रॉक्सी ही है। एप्लीकेशन लेवल फायरवॉल को ना प्रॉक्सी फायरवॉल ही बोलते हैं, ठीक है।
Proxy server?
नहीं, प्रॉक्सी सर्वर, देखो मैं यहाँ पे सर्वर की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, ये मैं फायरवॉल की बात हो रहा है। प्रॉक्सी सर्वर समथिंग, ये फायरवॉल को प्रॉक्सी सर्वर भी बोलते हैं, ठीक है। ये प्रॉक्सी सर्वर, ये अपना अगर प्रॉक्सी फायरवॉल को बहुत लोग प्रॉक्सी सर्वर भी बोलते हैं, ठीक है। अगर कोई अलग से कोई सर्वर बनाया है वो अलग बात है, बट अगर नेटवर्क पे वो फायरवॉल है, ठीक है, उसको हम लोग प्रॉक्सी ही बोलते हैं, ठीक है। चलो, व्हाट इज नेक्स्ट
सर
जनरेशन, प्लीज।
एक और डाउट था नेक्स्ट जनरेशन पे जाने से पहले, स्टेटफुल और स्टेटलेस दो जो फायरवॉल के टाइप्स है। हेलो,
आई एम लिसनिंग, गो अहेड।
ओके, दोनों में अगर सेम डेटा प्रोसेस हो रहा है तो सीपी यूटिलाइजेशन किस में कम रहेगा, स्टेटफुल में या स्टेटलेस में?
ओके, सो याद रखना, स्टेटलेस में अगर हर एक रूल के लिए 2 रूल बन रहा है, ठीक है, और स्टेटफुल में हर एक रूल का एक ही रूल बन रहा है, तो तुम्हारा जो डेटा जो प्रोसेसिंग है वो तुम्हारा इसमें स्टेटलेस में बहुत ज्यादा रहेगा। दैट्स वाई उसका एक ड्रॉबैक है। और स्टेटफुल एकदम, इसमें कोई मतलब इसका थ्रूपुट बहुत हाई रहने वाला है, क्योंकि उसका एक पॉलिसी के लिए एक ही, अगर 20 रूल्स 100 रूल्स बनाना है तो 100 ही रूल्स बनेगा, और स्टेटलेस में अगर 100 रूल्स बनाना है तो okay, someone had
200
asked, okay, wait a minute, someone just asked me to explain in English, so I'm going to explain the same stuffs, right? So like as I explained, ki in a stateless firewall, if we want to create a 10 rules, so we have to create a like multiple of 2, right? So if we want to create a 10 rules for one communications, it required a two rules, right? So for creating 100 rules, we have to create a 200 rules, right? Okay,
right,
so
right.
it is going to be more it is going to be take a more throughput, more computing, more CPU for doing the lookup of 200 policies. But for the stateful, actually for the for 100 policy, it required 100 policy only, right? So for 100 it required 100 policy only, right? So
But
it is,
sir,
so yeah,
it is maintaining table also, and a stateless firewall
no
is
no,
not maintaining the tables.
so what? It has to be
So
go through the, so see, like if we'll create a 5,000 rules If we want a 5,000 policies, we have to create a 10,000 policy for that.
10,000
So for
policies.
yeah,
You
so we know that firewall is actually following the order from top to bottom. Okay, top to
okay.
bottom. So from all guys, just remember firewall. Whatever, if we create 100 rules, firewall all the time coming and checking the rules from top to bottom. So if he will find the rules in the rule number 3, it is not going to check below. It is just allowed or deny whatever. Okay. So like suppose if any traffic is coming, and that traffic is actually rule is not there in the firewall, not there, and there is a 5,000 policies, rule is not there in the firewall, it is going to check all from 1 to 5,000 all the times. Whatever the traffic is coming, it's going to check all 5,000 policy, because if the rule is not there, because below the rule there is a one implicit deny. What is implicit and explicit we will learn later on. Okay, implicit means by default deny rule, just remember. Okay, by default deny rule. So it is going to check all the time, so its throughput going to be high, or it's computing all the time high. But for there, only for the 5,000 communication, it requires just half. So that's why the throughput of stateful firewall is very good. There is a no latency into the network, very high throughput. So that's why it is very much recommended. Okay.
right, sir.
Okay. Okay, so now I'm going for the next generation firewall. So what is next generation firewall actually? Our Palo Alto firewall is actually a next generation firewall. I'm not going to explain much in the next generation firewall, because we will learn all the things in the Palo Alto firewall. But what is next generation? Next generation, like I said, this is my stateful firewall. Okay, plus this is my application level firewall. Plus there is a guys, I'm just giving you on basic example of, like, we have a one firewalls. Okay, and then there is a application level firewalls, then there is a then there is a one more IPS. What is IPS? Intrusion prevention system. Then there is a router and whatever ISP. Okay, so what would happen if any traffic coming from the outside? So for all the checking, like all the it's checking the deep, for the deep packet inspection, if there is any malicious stuffs are there into or not for this packet, there is a IPS. IPS is intrusion prevention system. What it does, it has a signature. It has a bundle of signature. Okay, so whatever each traffic would come, it will check all the signature for each packet, and if any signature would match, this signature is actually for the all the viruses signature. Always remember. Okay, so if any signature would match, it means there is a malicious stuff in the signature, and IPS will drop the packet or whatever the action will. If the signature would not match, then only it will forward the packet to the next whatever, it's a firewall or anything. So why am I explaining IPS here? Because our next generation is firewall is combination of everything, like a stateful firewall, combination of plus application level firewall plus IPS. So it's a combination of everything. That's it. Okay, as earlier we have a one stateful firewall which is working. We have a dedicated application level firewall for web based traffic. There is a one dedicated hardware device for IPS for signature based checking. Then okay, so there is a three different devices. Now these all combine together and make a one firewall which is called next generation firewall. That's it. So what is next gen firewall? Next gen firewall is a network security device that provides capabilities beyond traditional or stateful firewall. While a traditional firewall typically provides stateful inspection of incoming and outgoing network. Okay, so this is what the next generation firewall. It has a combination of all the stateful firewall, all the application level firewall, and IPS. It's doing all together. It's all features are together into the next generation firewall. Okay, so now I'm going to explain the transparent firewall. What is transparent firewall? I'm not going to touch much more. We will learn more the stuff into the lab once we learn that. Go for the transparent firewall topic into the firewall. What is transparent firewall is actually, so like suppose we have a LAN network. Okay, there is a one L3 switch. What is L3 switch? You guys are aware of that. L3 switch is work on the L3. It is not L2, and their interface is also dedicated IP address defined. Okay, so and there is a router. Suppose there is a router. So if suppose this subnet, Okay, this subnet, like this interface is suppose 10.0.0.1. Okay, this subnet is 10.0.0.2. So I want to put like in the future, we came to know that we required a firewall in between this network. We want to put the firewall, and we are, yeah, very good money, very good money. Yeah, you are right. So what would happen in a transparent firewall? If you want to put the firewall in between layer 3, in between layer 3 devices, okay, remember, in between layer 3 devices, we want to put the firewall, as we know that firewall working as a L3 device. So we want to change the topology then, right? We want to change the architecture, and like it is 10.0.0.1, 10.0.0.0.2, we need to put the IP some here also. We need to put the IP of this interface also, like if you put the L3 firewall. So here transparent firewall is actually work as a layer 2, like a switch. Okay, and it is kind of a bump in the wire. It means it work as a switch. No need to change the topology. It is just going to work as whatever working, as I explained the all the features. It is going to work as a firewall, but no one knows that in between there is a firewall. But it has a limitation. It work as a switch, but it has a limitation that it can't support dynamic routing like BGP, RIP, OSPF. But now in the next generation firewall, it start coming to support. But most of the time, most of the firewall is not supporting dynamic routing and also not supporting VPN. So actually, it has a limitation. But it's doing all the filtering and all the filtering policies all the same, but work as a L2 switch. That's it. That's it. Nothing more. So I hope it's clear, guys. These are the type of firewalls I want to explain. And now these are the vendors of the firewall. So what is vendors? So these are like SonicWall, WatchGuard, Fortinet, Palo Alto, Juniper Networks, StoneSoft, Checkpoint, Cisco. These are the actually vendors which are actually creating a firewalls. Okay, like they are manufacturing the firewall devices, and the Palo Alto firewall is the number 1 among them. Then number 2 I think could be the Checkpoint, number 3 Cisco, then all 4 is Juniper, then I think 4 to 5 Fortinet or Juniper, whatever. So these are the actually vendor of the firewalls. And if you know the Palo Alto firewall, this is number 1. Every organization is looking for the Palo Alto engineers. Every organization all over the world, not in the India even. So this course is for the PCNSC. Okay, so if anyone want to go for certification, there are 2 certification for the Palo Alto firewall. There are multiple or certification, but for this, I'm audible, guys?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So there is a one certification called Palo Alto Network Certified Network Security Administrator. This is for the administrator, and this is for the security engineer, PCNSE. So instead of going for, if you want to do certification, going for go for PCNSE. I will recommend PCNSE because this is actually, it's the advanced level of certification. And I think I'm not sure, but it's charged $160. I think it is charged $140. Okay, don't go for PCNSA, go for PCNSE. It is a very advanced level of certification, and for any jobs, if you have a certification of PCNSE, your resume would be a very much weightage, and you will listed in every interview. And if you have a knowledge on Palo Alto, you will get a very good job. It has a very much high demand nowadays. Anything else? That's all for today, guys. Anything else? If anyone have questions, please let me know.
Yeah. What will be the duration?
Duration for what?
And duration of the session, unlike day wise, it will be a 1 hour session or 2 hour session.
No, actually, the course would be going from the Monday. It's during the work day, like a Monday to Friday. So
Yeah.
probably we are going to take around 2 hours, 9 to 11. Okay, but could be 9 to 10:30 or 9 to 11. That's what, 1.5 hours or 2 around. Yeah. So that's what,
Sir.
because it. Yeah, please go ahead.
9 to 11 p.m.
No. Yeah, PM. Yes, PM. 9 p.m. 9 p.m. PM. Yeah.
To 11 p.m.
Yeah, 9 p.m. to 11. Actually, 9 to 10:30, but